All right, welcome everyone to Atp Live Monday. Just starting 3 minutes early so I can share all the videos in the right places. And so, welcome everyone. Please share the video, invite your friends, and let everyone know that we're live. So, welcome everyone. I'm just looking for my video. Okay, yeah. So, share the video, invite friends and everyone, and then we can start. You can also drop your questions. Welcome everyone. I'll do a proper introduction later. I just want to share the video myself, make sure it's available in all our groups. Welcome everyone. Welcome. Let's just share the video and then we can start. But if you have a question, you can start dropping your question now as well. Welcome. Good evening. And for those who are in other parts of the world, good morning, good afternoon, whichever day of the week you're watching, or whichever time of the day. Welcome to ATP Live. Yeah, I think I've shared the video and just making sure people can see it. Just 1 more minute. I just need to make sure it is pinned to the right places. Thank you so much for joining me. I don't know why my comment section is not showing in the live audio room. I guess maybe there's something I need to do. I'm not doing right. Okay. Hopefully it will show later on. Okay, I'll try and see what we can do about the live audio room. Okay. So welcome everyone. I'm just trying to make sure everybody can hear me and everybody can see me. Just give me another 2 minutes to pin all the videos on our various Facebook groups, then we can make a start. All right, I think I'm there now. Okay. It's still a mom. Welcome. And Instagram, welcome. Feel free to drop your questions on the comment section and we can start. For those on live audio, I'm not sure why the comment section is not showing. I'm not sure really, to be honest. Oh yeah, it's showing now. Okay, so you can also put your comments for those on the live audio room. Is the comment section is showing now, so you can put your comments as well in the comment section, and I will see it and I can read it as well. So that's good. So I guess we are all good to go. Okay. Okay, I guess we are good to go. All right, so welcome everyone to ATP Live Monday. My name is Gbemisola Boyede. I'm a pediatrician, and I'm here this afternoon or evening or morning, whichever time of the day you're watching me from whichever part of the world, to answer any health questions that you may have about your children. So feel free to drop your questions if you are watching on ATP Facebook group or ATP Facebook page. You can drop your questions directly on the comment section and I'm going to say it. If you are watching on Instagram, you can drop your questions on the Instagram. If you are listening to me on live audio room on Facebook, you can drop your question in the comment section. I can't see any comment yet there, and I will be able to read your question and answer them. If you're watching on YouTube, you can drop your questions also directly on the comment section there. If you're watching from ATP Family Facebook group, ATP Still a Mom, or ATP, the First Time Mom group, you will need to click on the video and then drop your question directly on the video for me to be able to see your questions. So thank you so much for watching. This program is brought to you by Ask the Pediatricians Foundation. Ask the Pediatricians Foundation is committed to the health and welfare of all children globally. We do that through our health education and information online. And we also do community medical outreaches in various parts of the country. And actually our community medical outreach is coming up in May. In fact, the next week we're going to have one outreach, I think in Delta State's outreach is this Saturday. Yeah, not next week, this Saturday. So we're doing our National Children's Day medical outreaches, and we will appreciate your support. You can volunteer, you can donate, you can collaborate with us, and so feel free to send us a message. For those of you watching on video, you can see our account details there, and please donate. For those listening, it is GT Bank 0258-158-136, or you can head over to our Facebook, our website, and you can also donate. For those abroad, you can donate through our global giving page as well. So look out for an ATP outreach very, very close to you throughout the whole month of May and June. We are going to come to a community next to you. So feel free to support us. And if this program is just for an hour, so try and put your question before 7 p.m. After 7 p.m., I will not be able to answer your questions. However, if you still have questions after that, you can post your question directly on our Facebook groups. We have four Facebook groups. You can post for children health on Ask the Pediatricians Foundation, Ask the Pediatricians Facebook group. If you are posting adult health issues, you can post on ATP Family. And if you are needing psychological emotional support for the loss of pregnancy or a child, you can post on ATP Still a Mom. And then if you are a first-time mom, you can join our FTM baby care group as well, and you can post your first-time mom questions there. If you want to have a private chat or consultation with any of our professionals, send us a WhatsApp message on +234 9056 916818 or email clinicsatp@gmail.com, and we will be able to respond to that. Okay, I think I've done enough adverts and comments, so I will now going to go straight to the questions and answer. I'm checking on the live audio. I can't see any comments, so if you have questions and you're in live audio, feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. Can't see any question on Instagram. Okay, no question on Instagram. Instagram, drop your questions and then I will answer them. So I'm just going to go to Facebook group because I can see some people have dropped the questions there. All right. So I hope I start. No, I didn't start at the right place. Okay, let me start from the right place. Thank you so much, Adeola Uka, Facebook user. If you're on Facebook group, you need to give StreamYard permission to show your name. So if I don't see your name, it's Rochelle's Facebook user. God bless you too. And somebody says, is it okay to bath a newborn baby every day? Okay, so that's somebody from our Facebook group. The first question today, is it okay to bath a newborn baby every day? The answer is yes, it is okay to give a newborn baby bath every day, but it's not compulsory to do so. People that live in very cold environments usually do not have to do that because the weather is so cold, so you can just clean your baby and all that. But if you live in places like Nigeria where the weather is so hot and humid, then I think it's okay. So for that person asking this question, if you're a first-time mom, I suspect you are one. So feel free to get a copy of the FTM Companion. I think you will love it. It's a combination of both ebook and videos. I've tried to address every kind of topic that a first-time mom would like to know about. So you can get either the full package, or you can just get the FTM Companion itself. I'm looking for the picture of that, and or you can also get a copy of the 500 frequently asked questions by first time mom. You will really, really love that. So everything for first time mom, I think I've tried to address in that particular product. Yes, FTM Company. I've seen the picture now. So you can get these products. You will find them very, very useful because all the kind of question you can always want to ask a pediatrician as a first time mom is been already addressed in a very simple, easy way to understand. And if you all the questions as well, you can get in the 500 frequently asked questions. And if you want to watch the video of me teaching all those topics as well, then you can get the FTM baby care ready. If you send us a WhatsApp message, I'm sure we'll send you the details on how to get all that for the first time mom, or any mom who really wants to know more about the care of their children. You can get a copy of that. All right. Good evening, Obina. Good evening, Layode, Adeshola. Good evening. Adiola, okay, Adiola's first question. My 4-year-old have dry lips and they sometimes peel. What can I do about this? Okay. Dry lips could be due to dehydration. So if the weather is so hot and dry and your child has not been drinking water, you want to make sure that you're giving your child a lot of water to drink. So that is the first thing. Sometimes it is not because child has not been drinking water. Some people just have very dry skin, or during some particular weather like Amazon and all that, the lips become so dry and they peel. So you can just use lip balm. There are lip balm being sold, or you can just use your good old Vaseline and rub it on the lips. So the two thing is to make sure you keep the skin moisturized, and then you also make sure that the child is drinking enough water. Most times children don't remember to drink water, so you have to sometimes remind them to drink water, and that should take care of that. So unless there's other issues, like if the child is also having fever or other illness, but there are some illness that can also come with that, then you have to see your doctor. But if it's just the dry lips only, drink lots of water, use any of the lip balm to moisturize the lips, and that'll be fine. Okay, Rosemary, I think I remember Rosemary. You're one of our most consistent ATP Live watch fan, or how would I put it now? Yes, okay. So you said my quadruplets are yet to start talking. 1 year, 7 months. Should I be worried? I can't remember whether your quadruplets were born at term or they were born preterm. So you need to let us know that, because if they were born preterm, we need to calculate their corrected age. We normally calculate corrected age for preterm babies up to the age of 2 years. So I'm going to assess the development based on the corrected age. But usually by 18 months, we should expect them to have single words. And I'm not sure what you mean by talking monologues. Do they have single words, or do they have 2 words combined together? I think that's more relevant. So I'd rather you give me those information and I can advise you what to do. So when your baby's born preterm, that is the first question. And if they were born preterm, how many weeks? What was the week of the pregnancy when they were born? Number 2, what do they do? Are they talking single words? Are they combining words together? I really want to know. I don't like the word monologue because I don't really know what you mean by that. But if you tell me whether they are saying single words or they are saying two words combined together, or the whatever one you're worried about, then I can address that. All right. Good night. Thank you so much for joining us. Goodness say, does lying down to breastfeed a baby of 1 month old good? Yes, you can lie down to breastfeed if you know how to do it. There's nothing wrong with that. It's one of the positioning for breastfeeding, but you need to know how to do it so that you don't block the baby's nose with the breast, or you don't allow breast milk to enter the wrong place. So most new moms may not be very comfortable with that, and they may not know how to do it. So if you don't know how to, it's best you sit up and breastfeed in a position that is convenient for you. But if you know how to do it, there's absolutely nothing wrong. So for you, you can watch all the breastfeeding videos. They're available online on YouTube, on our Facebook page, and you can watch them, or you can also get a copy of the First Time Mom Companion or the whole product, because we have a whole chapter devoted to breastfeeding as well, and that may be helpful. But there's nothing wrong with breastfeeding. Okay, Felicia Rakende, good evening. I think that's one of our moderator. Goodness, what food should a breastfeeding mom avoid? You don't need to avoid any food as a breastfeeding mom. You should eat normal food and drink a lot of water. Of course, avoid alcohol, avoid coffee and all that. But there's no restriction to any food. If you eat any particular food and you think it's affecting your baby or making your baby fussy, or you are allergic to it, or your baby is allergic to it, of course, you should avoid those ones. But otherwise, there's really no restriction on what you can eat or what you cannot eat. So goodness, if you're a first-time mom, I will recommend you get a copy of the FTM Companion. Based on the kind of question you're asking, or you can get the FTM frequently asked questions. All right, good evening. The next question, Excel Ochula. Good evening, Ma. Good to see you again. Good to see you too. Do babies outgrow seborrheic dermatitis? Seborrheic dermatitis is a condition. It's something that can be treated. So it is not something babies outgrow. It's a kind of a skin a rash, if you like to call it that, and then it's something that can be treated, and it's something that can be sorted. So if you are not sure what it is, it's better you ask your doctor, and then they can tell you what to do. So it's something that can be managed properly. Yes, and it can stop. It's not something that it has to continue, because when you use the word outgrow, you mean something that's going to continue for a long time. And then that is how we use the word outgrow. So we tend to use the word outgrow for things like allergic conditions and all that. But seborrheic dermatitis is not one of those kind of conditions. This is something that is specific, time bound. It's not something that should continue forever for the child to outgrow. It should come and should stop. That is the point I'm trying to make. I hope that helps. So I believe that you must have seen a doctor, or somebody gave you the name of that condition and told you what to do about it. So you're supposed to follow the instruction, and then it should stop. It's not something that should go on forever. If you are not, I hope it's not something you dig up from a textbook, because you need to be sure that diagnosis is made by a professional and not what you suspect, because there are two different things. So if you want to clarify that, you can do that before the program ends. For those listening on ATP Live Audio, feel free to ask your question in the comment section. I will answer them. But you're also welcome to just listen if you don't have any questions. Okay, the next question says, good evening, Doc. Is it okay to give 6-month-old baby family food? Yes, because baby refused to take puree like avocado, banana, but when given swallow and vegetable, the baby took it, but I saw the vegetable in the stool. Okay, so the person asking this question, you have not understood complementary feeding. I always recommend that you do listen to our podcast, or go through our write-up on our Facebook, on our website, or go through our guide session on our Facebook group on complementary feeding. Because when you ask a question, immediately it shows that you don't understand what is complementary feeding, because your questions, complementary feeding is actually giving food in addition to breast milk, and it does not say it has to be puree that has to be given to the child, and there's no food that your child cannot eat. Obviously, the texture will vary from when you start at 6 months. So there's nothing like this. There's something like family food. There's nothing like adult food. There's nothing like baby food. All food is food, and all food can be eaten by children. All right. So when you start complementary feeding, but the way make it. Initially you start with soft, semi-solid before you go on to solid. So that is it. So what I'm just going to recommend is that the Facebook user, because you're a Facebook user, so you're on our Facebook group. So I'll recommend you go to the guide section and go through complementary feeding videos. We have about 5 or 6 videos. We have some writes up there. I think there's a podcast I did on complementary feeding, on infant feeding for the first 1,000 days. Before you continue, because maybe it's just 6 months, so you've not started complementary feeding long anyway. So before you start, take a pause, go through that training, that teaching on complementary feeding, so you have all the information before you start. So you understand what complementary feeding is, what to give, how to give, what quantity to give, how often to give. Those are very important information that you need to know even before you start. Then you will be very comfortable and confident in starting complementary feeding. So that is what I would recommend for you, and the way you go about it is different. So you need to understand that, and obviously it's not something I can do in one answer, kind of, so it's better you go through. It's a whole teaching on its own, and you can also listen to past videos, because I've taught a lot on complementary feeding. Just look for any of the podcasts or video on infant feeding, or if you ask this question on our Facebook group, somebody will show you the links to all these things I'm talking about. I hope that's helpful. Okay. Okay, Adiola, thank you. The next question. Okay, Rosemary said your baby were born preterm, they were 33 weeks. So if they are 1 year, 7 months now, so they were born like 7 weeks early. So let's just say about 2 months early. So that means that they're about 1 year, 5 months. So at 1 year, 5 months, they should at least be saying single words. So if they're saying I don't know what I mean by single words once in a while, they should have a single word that they use consistently. So if that is a child saying mommy or daddy, and the child says mommy or daddy each time he or she sees the mom, that is what we mean by having a single word. It is not the child saying da 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 mama and not directly using it for a mom or daddy. So those are not yet single words. So single words mean the child should say a particular name consistently and meaningfully. Okay, maybe that's what I should say. It should be meaningful use of the word. So each time the child sees mommy, he'll say mama, or then we know that is a meaningful use of the word. The child will only say that to mommy, or maybe to every adult, but at least we know the child is using it to refer to a person. So at that age, they should have at least 1 to 3 single words that they use meaningfully all the time, not once in a while. Okay, so if they are not yet saying any words, you may want to see a speech therapist so that they can evaluate it. So sometimes we give them some time. Speech therapists want to wait like about at least 2 years before they start to worry so much. But usually around age 1 year, 18 months, we expect them to have at least nothing less than 1 to 3 single words meaningfully used. If they are not using that, then you want to see a speech therapist just to check them. Usually we give children some time. Obviously, they were preterm babies, we correct for that, but then from correction, at least they're over 1 year, so they should have 1 to 3 single words. That's the point. Okay, Rosemary, I hope that's helpful. Okay, Licia, Debbie, good evening, ma. I started my baby with pap and milk at 6 months. Is breast milk, pap and formula okay for my baby now, or should I have family food? Okay, Licia, your answer is similar to the one I just gave to the person who was asking about period. You need to go through complementary feeding training. Okay, complementary feeding is not formula and pap and milk. No, complementary feeding is much more than that. Okay, so I really recommend, strongly recommending that you go through our, if you're not on our Facebook group, you can join our Facebook group, or you can go to my podcast, because I actually have a podcast, Ask Dr. Gbemi ATP. You can listen to the one on infant feeding for the first 1,000 days. It's so important to understand complementary feeding. There are videos made by Global Health Media on complementary feeding, and they did it in a very simple way. and they use local food to demonstrate how to start complementary feeding, because complementary feeding is not just pap and formula, it is much more than that. And they will go take you through all the food classes. It's also important for you to understand the quantity to give, how frequently to give it, what exactly you're going to give, what texture and all that. So it's also important to have that understanding, because this is one of the misconceptions about complementary feeding. So you need to understand that. So like I said earlier, there's nothing like family food, there's nothing like baby food, there's nothing like adult food. Food is food, and all food can be given to babies, but the texture and the way we make it for a 6 month old definitely is going to be different from an 11-month old, and the quantity you're going to give is going to be different. So these are all the issues, and obviously we don't want your baby to be taking only pap and formula. There are so many variety that the baby needs to take, including fruits, including vegetables. So that is why it's so important for you to go through that training on complementary feeding. I know it's one of our most frequently asked questions, so it's always good to go through that. Okay, I think I'm not sure whether I have question on Instagram now. I can just take one from Instagram, and then I'll come back to Facebook. All right. Okay, somebody slim pretty. Good evening, doll. Please, my 2.5 years old didn't talk yet. She's full time. What can I do? So a 2.5 year old who is not talking has speech delay. That is speech delay. And the question is with what is causing the speech delay, but the child needs help, because like I was telling Rosemary, at 1 year, I always teach parents how to know what to expect in terms of speech by using the rule of the thumb. So 1 year, one word, 2 years, two words combined together, or two words phrases. 3 years should be speaking 3 word sentences. In other words, simple, short sentences, having at least 3 to 4 words. By 4 years, a 4-year-old should be talking like an adult. In other words, when a 4-year-old is talking, a stranger should understand a 4-year-old talking without any difficulties at all. So a 2.5-year-old should definitely be combining words together and be speaking short sentences. So you need to see a speech therapist for proper evaluation. Sometimes the speech therapist may want you to see a developmental pediatrician as well, depending on what is the cause of the speech delay. So sometimes it is just speech delay and only speech delay. There's no other area of development that is affected. Sometimes the speech delay is in addition to other developmental delay, maybe with the other domains. We talk about gross motor, fine motor, social skills, and all that. Or sometimes it could be in the context of other developmental disorder like autism spectrum disorder. So, but if a speech therapist still first, they could figure out whether you need to now see a developmental pediatrician in addition to their own speech intervention for proper assessment and all that. But usually, to start with, we'll recommend seeing a speech therapist and also doing hearing tests to make sure the child can actually hear as well. So that's what I recommend. Slim Pretty. Okay, I think that's the only question I have on Instagram today so far. Good. And I don't have any question on live audio. Good. I guess they're just listening. So let's just go back to Facebook. Okay, where am I? Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm almost done. Good evening, Ma. Okay, good evening. I'm happy to be in your group. Okay, Goodness is happy to be in our group. Thank you so much for joining us. All right. Okay, so that's very good. I don't have so many questions. I hope I didn't jump on anybody's questions. Okay. So if I jumped your question, I don't think so. I'm just checking. Okay, we don't have any more questions for now. All right. So welcome everyone. If you have any questions on your children's health issues, feel free to post now so that we can answer the questions on time before we go on into the before it was 7 p.m. And just to remember that today is also the day of the boy child. I know we talk a lot more about the girl child, and because the girl child was really at risk and all that, but we are realizing that it is not only the girl child that is at risk, the boy child is also at risk as well. And so I think the United Nations now put aside today as a day for celebrating the boy child. So we need to remember to take care of our children, the boys. We need to remember to train them well. All the errors of boys shall be boys, it's no longer acceptable. We need to train our boys to be responsible citizens as well, and we need to celebrate them as well. So it's not just about the girl child and the girl child all the time, but we need to remember that the boy child is also very, very important, because they are going to be the fathers tomorrow, they're going to be the husbands tomorrow, they are going to be the responsible citizen. And then when we talk about the girl child and all the difficulties that women face and all that, it also has to do with the males. So if we train our boys well, then indirectly the entire family will be better, and of course the entire world and the entire society. So it's not just about the female child only, but we should also remember the girl child as well. All right. So thank you so much. I seem not to be seeing any new question. I hope I didn't jump any question. Okay, we seem to have a question from Instagram. Modupe Abbas said, my good evening, doc. My 17-month-old daughter's appetite has been on and off, but she's not sick, active as ever. So the question is, what is the definition of on and off? So is she not eating at all? Is she eating small quantity? What quantity are you giving? How often are you feeding? Because that is what we really need to know before. So when you're asking questions from pediatricians, you have to be very specific, because we are not there with you, so we don't know what you mean by on and off. So it's very, very important to be more specific, to say my baby eats only 3 times a day before, but now she only eats once, or she finishes this particular quantity, but now she won't finish it. That is more objective way, and then we can easily kind of situate or put a context to the question, and then we know what advice. So I'm just going to give general advice, because it is not very clear to me, the question. For a 7-month-old, really, we expect them to eat maybe about 2 to 3 times a day, in addition to breastfeeding. For those who are asking questions on complementary feeding, maybe I can just use this opportunity to chip in more information for that. So for complementary feeding, start at 6 months, okay? And when you start at 6 months, the baby just needs to take 2 meals a day, really, at 6 months. By 7 months, you can make it 2 to 3 times a day, and the quantity is about half a cup. Half a cup is like about 50 mils, of the complementary feed. And the complementary feed is any other food we're giving in addition to breast milk. So complementary feeding does not mean you stop breastfeeding. So even at 6 months, at 7 months, your baby's main food is still breast milk. They're still going to be taking breast milk 70 to 80% of the time. Not all you are not supposed to reduce their breastfeeding. They should take as much breast milk as they were taking before you start complementary feeding. But in addition to that quantity of breastfeeding, which is still going to continue on demand, you are now adding 2 extra meals, of semi-solid or solid, and that is what we expect. So sometimes I think parents sometimes think they are converting the breast milk frequency to the complementary feeding frequency. So because baby breastfeed maybe 8 times a day, or so they expect that when you now start complementary feeding as well, you're supposed to do it 8 times or 6 times. No, this is going to be too much. Your baby should be taking more of breast milk, and you are only having. So it's so important to focus on. That's why I always recommend you go through the training, because you need to know what's the quantity to give. Sometimes parents say the appetite is off because you are giving too much than the baby actually need, and if the baby doesn't take it, then that is interpreted as appetite being lost, whereas it's actually the quantity or the frequency that is actually too much. So try, and that is why it's so important to know the quantity and the frequency. So for 6 to 7 months old, they should take breastfeeding more, and just 2 or 3 meals, not more than half a cup of it. And for the meal you give, you can give anything. And as much as possible, we have what we call the concept of food plates. concept of food plates means that each meal should have at least not less than 4 different food groups. So we have also what we call the concept of food groups. So food groups, like we have food that we say gives energy or carbohydrate food, like most of us are used to that, like our cereals, like our yam, like our potato. Then we must have the protein, and protein can be animal protein, it can be uh, plant protein, like your plant protein, for example, like beans, like granules and all that. Your animal protein, like your meat and your fish and your egg. And of course, we have the dairy. Dairy are also a mix of protein source supply as well, though they can also have some sugar inside. Then you have your fruits and your vegetables as well. So whenever you're making up food for a baby as complementary food, you are thinking of all those food classes at the back of your mind. So for example, a mom that was asking whether she can give just pap and formula. So in a pap and formula, you've only given 2 classes of food. You've given a cereal, a carbohydrate or energy producing food, and a dairy. That is all 2. You need at least 4. Okay, you need to look. So even in that pap, just adding like crayfish to your pap has increased it to 3 classes of food. Just adding like maybe 1 spoon of palm oil. I didn't mention that. You also have your fats, fats giving. They're also under the energy giving food, but we have the carbohydrate and you have the fats and oil. Just adding a little bit of palm oil has added, so you're already making up to 4 classes. Then of course, maybe you want to add a little bit of veggies. Maybe you just put your banana into it and make it puree. So even though you're giving pap, adding other things to it already increase it in terms of what we call adequacy of the food. You've added other things to it. So it's not just the pap and the milk, which is what majority of Nigerian mothers will do, which is actually inadequate food. And because we have not addressed some of the protein, the animal protein, we've not addressed the fat and oil. So it is not a good combination. And of course, the texture is so important. It's a complementary food should not be given through bottles. So if you're giving pap and milk through bottle, that is wrong. It has to be thick porridge, something that you can give with a spoon from a cup. And then that 15 minutes is thick porridge. So, but because you've added so many foods, so there's so much calories packed in that little quantity, you have to be mindful of the fact that the baby's tummy, their stomach is just like your fist. It is not so much. So it doesn't have enough space to take so much volume of milk, so much volume of pap and everything. It has, so if you make it too watery and too liquid, you're putting so much volume but little calories going to the baby. So we need to give much calories but in reduced volume. So that's all that we're trying to achieve. So that's why it's so important to understand the concept behind what we're doing when we're doing complementary feeding. It is not just feeding the babies with food and something to feed their tummy. It's about making sure we're giving the right quantity, the right amount, the variety of it and all that, so that the child is getting all they need in terms of energy, calories, protein, vitamins, minerals, everything is packed together. So it is very, very important that we understand that concept of complementary feeding. So I've used that to summarize, and I hope it helped, because like I said, it's something we can talk about the whole day. So that's why I always refer people to go on to our guide section. We have a whole guide on complementary feeding with a lot of videos, or you can go on our website. We have it also written as articles, or you can go on the podcast. I've done it also as a podcast, or if you watch past videos as well, you will see the one on complementary feeding. It's so important. I always tell moms on our Facebook group, before you do complementary feeding, you have to do that training first, because once you start making errors, then you start getting into the child is having you start having a child who is aversive to food, doesn't want to take food and all that, then it becomes a battle that goes on and on. Then it's going, oh, doctor, my baby cannot eat. But it is because when we are starting, we didn't have the right knowledge or right information to help us read right. So once we get that, then to be fine. All right, so I think I've gone overboard on that. I hope I've addressed the question. But if you still have anything to clarify, feel free to ask. Modupe, I hope I've answered your question. Mentor Mama is saying, do all babies crawl? No, all babies do not crawl. Some babies don't crawl. My baby of 6 months uses his tummy to go around, and now he's trying to stand. Is it okay? Babies usually don't crawl. So I mean, some babies don't crawl, but babies that crawl will crawl at 9 months. So your baby who is 6 months, I'm not yet worried about whether your baby is crawling or not, okay? Because your baby is not yet even up to 9 months, which is the average age when babies actually crawl, okay? And then they begin to walk at about 1 year. So your baby at 6 months, all I want to know is, can your baby sit by himself without, usually sitting with support 5 to 6 months, sitting without support is 7 to 8 months. So then the baby can crawl. So baby going on their tummy or turning on their tummy or rolling back and forth is not the same thing as crawling. There's a difference between crawling and rolling. So you need to be able to get that correctly. So crawling is when they go on all their fours, and but they can roll from 5 to 6 months. That is a different scenario. But to answer your question strictly the way you asked it, not all babies will crawl, and there's nothing wrong with that. GSK, like my 11-month-old was given an injection. I've been seeing a physiotherapy. It's been a month now. He's still hanging his left leg. Yeah, sorry about that. I think I remember your question. I think when the baby was given an injection and couldn't walk. It's a long journey, so just be patient and let's hope the baby recover fully. Just have to continue physiotherapy. There's nothing we're going to do. There's no magical fix to it, honestly. We're just going to hope and wait that the nerve recovers and your baby recovers fully. Okay, there are many scenarios that could have happened with your baby. It could be that the injection damaged the nerve. It could be your baby actually had polio, which would be very rare, because I think we're almost kicking polio out of Nigeria. But some babies who have polio actually can present that way, but the injection kind of complicates the picture. Or so but you can see your pediatrician and also continue with the physiotherapy. We just watch and wait and hope and pray that the baby recovers fully. Yeah, okay. Okay. Modupe Abba say, although at times she eats once a day but prefers to take a formula. I'm not sure I understand that. What is your baby supposed to be eating? Your 7-month-old should be on breast milk and complementary feeding. Formula is not complementary feeding, okay? Formula is just formula. And formula is more like a replacement for breast milk, and we don't really want that. We want your baby to be taking breast milk more. Okay, that's another thing I should have said earlier. Some parents actually think complementary feeding means you have now replaced breast milk with formula. So they're like, oh, yes, can I go and buy all your formulas now? No, you don't really actually have to buy formula ever. Okay, because your baby can take all the milk from breast milk. So you don't even ever need to give formula to any baby at all. Because when you switch from exclusive breastfeeding to complementary feeding, your milk is still the breast milk. Okay, you can even express your breast milk and add it to your pap or any of the cereal. If you're giving cereal, for example, it is still breast milk. And there are other food, like I've told you, that your baby should be eating. So complementary feeding is not formula feeding. You don't even have to buy formula at all. So you need to be very specific. Your baby should be taking breast milk and solid or semi-solid food, not formula, and that is not what we are looking forward to. But I'm sure you get the picture now, Modupe. Your baby is a year 5 months. Oh, did you say 17 months? Okay, 17 months old should be on reels. Should still be taking breast milk, but should be on more solids. Okay, I think I'm seeing, maybe my glasses is seeing them. I thought I saw 7 months. For a 17-month-old, your baby should be eating on full family diet at 17 months. So usually we want all these semi-solid, different texture and all of that is up to the age of 1 year. By 1 year, we expect them to eat everything you eat. They should eat at the same time as you eat. They should eat everything you eat. They should eat 3 to 4 times a day. They should have 2 snacks a day. So 3 to 4 times a day, and in between they have snacks. And when we say snacks, we mean healthy snacks, not biscuits, not all those things they sell in the shops. I mean things like fruits, your banana, your apple. They can take that as snacks in between the 3 to 4 meals a day, and then they should be taking like um, a full cup, like maybe 100 mils of whatever food you're eating. That's the quantity we should be expecting for your 1 year old. Okay, I think it's clear right now. Okay, thank you for the clarification about the age. All right. Linda, I'm not sure I understand your question. You said can, I guess you'll say typing. All right, let me go back to Facebook group, Facebook page and answer the question. Okay, yeah. The first question here, the next question is saying, my son suffered birth trauma, herpes palsy. What are the necessary steps to take to prevent a subsequent occurrence? Okay, herpes palsy should not be recurrent. Herpes palsy it has to do with that particular baby. So usually it happens more when the baby is big and the baby is being delivered vaginally. So in the process of trying to extract the baby, if there's so much pull on the hands of the baby, around the shoulder, especially babies that also have shoulder dystocia and things like that, the pull can damage the nerves, and then the baby can have what we call herpes palsy, which is when they have their hands are rotated in a position that is facing backward, like what we call the waiter step or policeman step position and all that. So when you have your next baby, if the baby is big as well, then they need to decide, do you want to go through a vaginal delivery, or do you, I don't know why whether you had a big baby or what really happened in this particular baby, but I'm just trying to say it's not something that has to happen with every baby. It depends on the circumstance around the birth and the delivery of each baby. So if you think you don't want to go through anything that will cause birth trauma again, maybe your babies are big or anything like that, then you just go for elective cesarean section. And so they just cut you and bring the baby out, and the likelihood of herpes palsy happening will be. But if your baby is normal birth size and you have enough room to deliver the baby and all that, like there's no like obstruction around when the baby is coming out, there should be no reason for herpes palsy to occur. So it's not something that happens so frequently. It usually happens with very difficult deliveries, so that is when we tend to have that scenario. But just discuss your concern with your gynecologist obstetrician with your next baby. Let them know. If it's not the same obstetrician, you need to let them know, I've had this experience before. What do you advise? Do you want me to go through a normal vaginal delivery, or do you just want me to go through elective cesarean section to avoid that? So they weigh the risks and they will balance it and decide which one is the best option. Of course, you also have to be part of the decision making. Okay, came by Precious. Say good evening. My baby's tooth erupted. I saw the tooth this morning. I can't find the tooth. Okay. It has to lower say the one that erupted was the upper teeth, and today I can't find it. Okay. It's 9 months old, 8.4 kilo. Don't worry yourself. The teeth that came out before it will come back again. Sometimes I think parents are really so anxious around teeth and teeth coming out, teeth going out. There's really no reason to worry. We are not even worried at all if your baby does not have any teeth until 1 year. So we are not even worried about it. It's not to talk of a 9-month who already has two. So don't worry about looking for the missing upper teeth. They've not disappeared. They are there. They will come out clearly, and then you will see it very clearly, and they will not be lost. So there's no reason for you to worry at all about it. Okay, I think you've asked the same question twice. Don't worry about it. So don't worry. Just wait for it to come out again. Okay, somebody's saying, how do I treat my 3-year-old malaria? I do treat my 3-year-old malaria every 3 months. Should I continue? No, that what you are doing is completely wrong. Please don't treat children for malaria when they don't have malaria. I don't know why we always assume the children should have malaria. You have to treat them for malaria. No, that's very, very wrong approach. So you wait for the child to have the malaria, and when they have malaria, they must have the fever. You must have done the blood test to confirm they have malaria before you treat them for malaria. So don't just treat children when they are not sick. It is a very, very wrong approach. And for those of you living in Nigeria, it's okay for your children to have malaria because they need to develop some immunity against malaria, because that's the difference between those of you who live in a place where malaria is so common and somebody who is coming from outside a place where there's no malaria. Because when your children have malaria, then if they don't have any immunity, then they're going to have very severe malaria. So there's no reason why you should be overprotecting them, treating them for malaria when they don't even have malaria. That is not the best. So you should stop completely. If your children have fever, don't even assume every fever is malaria. If they have fever, you take them to the hospital, confirm the cause of the fever. If there's malaria, yes, it should be treated. If it's not malaria, no, don't give them anti-malaria. Nowadays, we have what we call rapid malaria test. So almost all the hospitals can do malaria tests within seconds and they can have the results. So there's no basis for just treating people for malaria when they don't even have malaria. No, that's not appropriate. Okay, somebody say, is it proper to add pap to baby formula at age 2 months? No, it is not. What kind of that is completely wrong. And I don't know where you saw it, but tell them that what they are doing is wrong. What we want to give a baby at 0 to 6 months is breast milk and breast milk only. No pap, nothing. Let the mother drink the pap and let her breastfeed her baby, okay? Because she just needs to give baby breast milk. This is the reason why our children are getting sick, and this is why children are dying in Nigeria, because even the things that we should do to keep our children safe, we don't want to follow them, okay? All of us have breast milk. You don't even have to pay for breast milk, so there's no excuse for not breastfeeding a baby, okay? Then it's not like formula because you don't have enough money and then you want to add pap to dilute formula. No, come on, breast milk is free. It's cheap, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. So please, all that a baby needs 0 to 6 months is breast milk and breast milk only. No pap, no water, no formula, nothing else, breast milk only. So Adiola, tell them to stop, all right? Tell them to stop. Okay, thank you, Adiola. Precious say, my 7-month-old did not used to eat children food. She liked to eat adult food. Okay, I think I've answered that question long enough today. There's no children food. There's no adult food. Okay, food is food. Okay, Precious, if you are just joining, because I think I did a lot of talk on days on complementary feeding and information. If you are just coming, I'll recommend you go listen to the video at the beginning again, and then go to all either our Facebook group or our podcast and go through the training on complementary feeding, or listen to the podcast on infant feeding so that you understand how to go about giving children food. There's no food that children cannot eat. It's okay. So I just give a little bit of overview of it before you came in, I suppose. So that's nothing to do. There's no food, children food, there's no adult food. All food are food. Both children and adults can eat them. All right. Somebody say, okay, Kimber, okay, say your baby's temperature was 38.8. You never had fever before. Give him a bath, give him paracetamol. Temperature went back to normal. Do I need to take him to hospital? No, you don't have to take him to hospital. If temperature is now back to normal, just watch him for now. There's no need to do anything. That's fine. You've done the right thing. Just leave him alone. And you don't need to do anything again. All right. Okay. Yeah. Next question from Linda. Say, my 2-year, 8-month-old is yet to speak. 2 years, 8-month-old. Your 2-year, 8-month-old is weighing 16 kilos. That weight is really big. Okay, 16 kg is the weight of a 4-year-old. Yeah, a 4-year-old. So I'm really worried about the weight, but that's not your worry. Your worry is about the speaking. And she, when asked how are you, she's yet to speak only. Okay, I'm not getting the question. Okay, is yet to speak only and fine when asked how are you. Okay, well, I guess you mean she said fine only when asked how are you. Please, what do I do? Yes, you need to see a speech therapist. I think I answered a similar question as well. So any child who is not talking at all, or who is only, okay, let me just break it down. By 2 years old, which a child is not talking, not combining words, you need, or not even saying any single words, you need to see a speech therapist. Okay, speech therapists we usually do what we call, they may refer you for hearing tests first, and then they will do their own speech assessment, language assessment. And if it is just speech delay only, they will do some speech therapy with the child. If there are other issues with the child's development or other behavior issues, they will refer to a developmental pediatrician to do a proper holistic assessment of the child's development and either make a diagnosis or make recommendations. So your child should see a speech therapist. We don't have so many of them in Nigeria, but if you ask us, we can link you to a speech therapist, or depending on where you are. There are some in Lagos, at least Lagos and some of the other big cities have speech therapists, and our speech therapists can recommend where you can get one for you. So it is so important that your child should have speech therapy input at this age. Okay. All right. I think we have. Okay. There's a question on live audio. Funke Odi say, my son is 2+. He has speech delay. He can recite A to Z and 1 to 40. But words are a challenge to put together. Okay. Funke, is your child seeing a speech therapist? I'm not sure. Is Funke still here, or you've left already? Okay, yeah, I can see you now. Is your child already seeing speech therapist or not? So for your child, I worry. I think your child should also see a developmental pediatrician, because if a child is able to say 1 to 40, the child is able to say A to Z, but the child is not using words to communicate. We also worry about such group of children. We worry about autism, because it's not a child who cannot talk, or the child does not know how to say words. The child that actually has good memory, because for you to be able to say A to Z at a 2-year-old, you actually have very fantastic memory. So the child is learning by memorization, but the child is not using the words for communication. So that child will actually need a developmental pediatrician to have a proper assessment and to test out other area, and then make appropriate diagnosis, and then recommend other intervention, because the child may need more than speech therapy. So that's what I'm just going to say about that. Okay, you're not yet seeing a speech therapist. Okay. If you are in Lagos, just like us, you can send us a WhatsApp message on our phone number, then we can advise you on how to get a speech therapy. But your child should be seeing a speech therapy, or you can go to any of your teaching hospitals. I think most of the teaching hospitals tend to have at least 1 or 2 speech therapists, so at least they will know where you can get the speech therapy. It's so important to have speech therapists. Okay, and that's what I recommend. But in addition, I think that child needs to have a developmental pediatrician assessment. Okay. Okay, there's a question on Instagram. Belzam Jersey. So what medication can be given to a 5-year-old vomiting, stooling, stomachache without fever? So a child with stooling, vomiting, what you can give is ORS. So you can give ORS, oral rehydration solution. You can buy it by yourself, mix it, and usually 1 sachet will go into 1 liter of water and be given the child. If the child keeps vomiting the ORS as well, you have to take the child to the hospital. We said the child is vomiting and having stomachache, so I'm thinking maybe the child is actually having either gastroenteritis or food poisoning or one of those things. If you can give ORS and the child is rehydrated and the child is okay, that's fine. ORS, oral zinc will be fine. That is the first stage you can give at home. But if the child is vomiting, even the ORS, you have to take to the hospital. There's no first aid for vomiting at home. Okay, if a child is vomiting and you give them rehydration solution like ORS and they are still vomiting, you have to take them to the hospital before they get so dehydrated. And at the hospital, we can give some other things, or we can put in drip, rehydrate them, but there's nothing much you can do at home. But if it's just diarrhea, they can be taking the ORS. But if it's vomiting, you have to get to the hospital. So I hope that's helpful. Yeah. Okay, I think we're coming gradually to the end of today's program. And I think so. I don't have any more questions on on Facebook. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I think today I really tried. I'm going to do it in 1 hour, unlike before, where I'm always rushing towards the end of the program. So today's a good day. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. ATP Life has been brought to you by Ask the Pediatricians Foundation. But like I said, if you still have any questions about your children's health issues or even your own health issues, feel free to post your question on our Facebook group. We have 4 of them. We have a Facebook group for children health issues. That is our award-winning Facebook group, Ask the Pediatricians. You cannot miss it on Facebook with over 700,000 members. Just search for Ask the Pediatricians and you can post your children health issues there. If you have questions about your own health, post it on ATP Family. ATP Family is our adult health, ask the family physician, so you can post this on ATP Family. If you want us to give you some emotional or psychological support around maybe pregnancy losses or death of any child, please, you can join our ATP Still a Mom Facebook group. And if you're a first-time mom, I recommend you join our what do we call it? First time mom baby care group, also on Facebook. So those are the 4 groups that we have. In addition to our pages, we're also on Twitter, we're on Instagram, obviously, we're on YouTube. All these videos, you can watch it on our ATP TV on YouTube. And please subscribe, follow us, recommend us to all your friends. If you also like listening to podcasts, I have the Ask Dr. Gbemi HCP podcast. It's on Spotify, Google Podcast. It's on many of the podcast platform, Anchor and all that. You can listen. And I always do a program on Fresh Waves Radio every Thursday where I take one topic and we it's also broadcast live on Fresh Waste Radio Facebook group and Facebook page and our own Facebook page as well. But it's also on my podcast as well. So just look for Ask Dr. Gbemi ATP on podcast and follow. If you're a first-time mom, we have a lot of products for you. First-time mom companion, first-time mom frequently asked questions. All the topics also available both in video and ebook version. You can also send us a message together. Finally, our outreaches are coming up in May, and we're doing it throughout all the states of Nigeria. We're actually doing 37. I know we're actually doing 40 community medical outreaches in May and June. So feel free to look out for our ATP outreach very close to you and support us. Please support us. We need your financial support, moral support. Please support us in any way you can support us. All our details are there on the screen, on Facebook, on Instagram. Please support us. We will be very happy. And all the children that we're reaching, they'll be very happy for your support. We usually go to the most disadvantaged communities in Nigeria to do our free community medical outreaches. So our pediatricians, our doctors, our nurses, our pharmacists, they will be on site in the communities to do free consultations, free dental consultation procedure, give free drugs, we give food, we do health stuff. We also do a lot of fun activities for the children because it is Children's Day community medical outreach. So we really would love you. And if you have a corporate organization and you want us to collaborate with you, please send us a WhatsApp message or send me an email on askthepediatricians@gmail.com. We'll be very happy to collaborate with you and promote your products for children. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today for the first time in history. I'm finishing this program 7 p.m. on the dot. Thank you so much, everyone. I'll see you again next week by God's grace. Have a wonderful evening and bye. Bye.